Are there serious reliability issues with the Ferrari? Is Mick Schumacher the future of Mercedes? And is there going to be a four-way team battle for the midfield? Let's get right into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Formula One Digest. I'm your host, Tyson De Silva. I'm joined by my co-host, Mark. Today, we are going to be reacting to the Austrian Grand Prix. Mark, what a race. What an absolute heartbreaker, though, for Carlos Sainz, fresh off of his first victory in F1, only to have a DNF due to reliability issues, again, with that Ferrari engine.
Yeah, it's either good pace, good strategy, no luck, or all luck, bad strategy, and everything else out the window. He can't ever catch a break. Had a thrilling first victory last weekend. But yeah, having an engine blowout, he's definitely gonna need to take a new one. Yeah, that one didn't look salvageable at all. And yeah, large questions looming over the reliability for this Ferrari engine.
And not to mention, Charles Leclerc was also complaining about some issues with his car towards the end of the race. He had some sort of throttle issue. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I haven't read anything about it yet, but it seemed to happen towards the end of the race where his throttle was stuck. So he was going much more slowly throughout the corners. I think he said especially turn 3. So that's definitely something to look out for as well as the season progresses, because it's going to be a lot of wear and tear on these cars.
Yeah, and with a packed schedule, several double headers throughout the season, triple headers even, the reliability and even cost cap is going to come into question for some of these less funded when it comes to having parts.
Oh, definitely. And you look at car and you look at Carlos's car after the incident, and that doesn't even look like a car that is salvageable at that point. It looks absolutely destroyed. I'll try and put up an image if I can find one. But yeah, no, it was terrible to see. Thank goodness he was able to get out of the car, but it was also a it was also a bit of a dangerous situation for him, not just because his car was on fire, but he couldn't get the car to stop rolling backwards. He tried to get out and he was rolling back, and then he had to hold on to the brake until the fire marshals eventually came to help him.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird place that he stopped at. It was on an incline, and yeah, he couldn't really get the car to stop. Normally, you can kind of put the cars in a neutral with kind of like a parking brake-esque kind of thing on these cars. But yeah, that must have gone in the fire. So yeah, it was kind of a dangerous situation. The marshal had to try to wedge something underneath the tire, and it didn't really stick too well. It was all sorts of a mess.
Yeah, overall, it was a very scary scene, but thankfully Carlos managed to get out unscathed. But unfortunately, with his car being DNF'd, he gave up the potential of a 1-2 finish for Ferrari in what is Red Bull's hometown race, which kind of gives us flashes back to Imola earlier this season, where Verstappen and Perez got the 1-2 in Ferrari's hometown, or at least part of their hometown.
Yeah, that was quite a race, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, and there was also, of course, the ever shining Mick Schumacher, who's just been on an absolute tear. I talked about it yesterday in the sprint race video. Even today, he was an absolute animal, finishing P6. I believe that's a career best, better than what he got last race. And yeah, that's a solid 8 points to add to his campaign. And ever since I think it was Canada, he's looked different. He had a bad luck in when he was here in Canada, but in the British Grand Prix, he had a nice little tussle with Max Verstappen, and now in this one, he was kind of everywhere. I'm sure you remember that there was almost a five car battle going on between like the McLarens and the Haas, and I think Valtteri Bottas or Fernando Alonso. Somebody was in the middle of all of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He was like He was getting his elbows out. He was racing. Last week he was racing against Max Verstappen, and he's really started to feel at home uh, in this car now. And with the team, he's melding together with Haas phenomenally, and it's showing now. I know it took him a long time to get there, but he's here now. I don't think he's going to leave. I expect very consistent points coming out of Mick if the Haas Garage can really get their stuff together and build reliable cars for them. But I absolutely believe now that Mick is at home and will start to score very consistent points.
Oh, definitely. And I also think that there's also the question of Mick's future in F1. At first, a lot of people thought he might be out by the end of this season if he didn't score any points. But now, he has some points under his belt. We're only halfway through the season, so he can still get some nice valuable points. Do you like? There is a question as to could another team look to poach him from Haas to join their team? And
Yeah.
a team that I'm kind of sorry, and a team that I'm
sorry, no worries.
No, and a team that I'm looking at right now could be Mercedes.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
No, no,
I'm
no, no,
really,
go ahead,
I'm really eager to get in there.
No, go for it, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I know Ferrari would be that historic team for him and to end up at just because of his father's legacy. I know it would mean the world to him to get there. But yeah, definitely. I think that other teams, other academies might start looking into him. It's going to be interesting to see what his future holds for him. Like you said, Mercedes is a very good option. His father did also have some history with the team before he retired from
Mercedes
F1.
legend Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, absolutely. 7-time world champion. I mean, he could end up at that team. It's a German team, Mercedes. He's a German driver. And a pairing like George Russell and Mick Schumacher would be amazing.
Definitely. And, I think that you kind of look at the availability on the team. There isn't much room in F1. And obviously, as you mentioned, Ferrari is definitely where he has his end goal at. But Ferrari has Leclerc and Sainz locked up for the next 2 years. Unless they're willing to move on from one of those drivers, which I highly doubt that they will. Charles is definitely going to be there for a long time as he's only 23 or 24. Carlos, we'll see how he does in the next 2 years. He'll be 30 or close to 30 by the end of it. So, it's definitely not out of the question that Mick could one day drive for Ferrari. But I think for now, he's definitely going to be with Haas because I don't think there are any other options. But should Lewis Hamilton decide, I've had enough, I want to pursue other things in outside of F1, there's definitely a spot there for Mick Schumacher who could definitely go in. Another pick that I kind of played around with was maybe AlphaTauri could potentially have a spot in like a year or two. But yeah, no, there's definitely going to be some room for Mick, but there's not a whole lot. Even McLaren could with Danny Rick's contract ending after next year.
Yeah, and we also have to remember there are the new teams that are slated to enter the grid in a couple years, those being Porsche and Audi. Another two German car manufacturers looking to get into the sport. It would be interesting to see what kind of driver pairing they pick up. It also opens up room for drivers like Nico Hulkenberg to return.
Listen. If anyone who is getting a seat, Pietro Fittipaldi is going to be first in line to be like me. Please take me.
Yeah, absolutely. I know he's sitting on the sidelines. If Mick is out, I definitely think that means Pietro's in. I think if Porsche and Audi do enter into F1, I think that those two teams would be very good opportunities for Mick to enter into and start building a home at, and creating his own legacy, which has been a narrative for him, wanting to create his own legacy, not really wanting to uh, follow too closely in his father's footsteps, but he could create his own legacy at Porsche or Audi, and do even bigger and better things that his father wasn't even able to achieve.
Oh, definitely. And of course, his teammate Kevin Magnussen got hit points as well. That's the second double points finish for Haas in the past 2 weeks. So I definitely think that the vibes there are definitely really high up there. But now, Haas has kind of been on a bit of a roll, and a team like Alpine's also been on a roll. McLaren's kind of been up and down this season, but right now they've been trending upwards. It's the midfield battle is going to be very interesting. Should these teams continue to improve their car, we could be seeing a four-way team fight between Mercedes, Alpine, Haas, and McLaren.
Don't forget Alfa Romeo either.
Oh,
Uh,
very true.
that would be amazing for a fifth car team to join the fray. AlphaTauri has been there on weekends where they have, luck on their side. Last week, not so much. This week, also not so much. But yeah, they're another team that, could very well enter into that midfield battle.
Oh, definitely. And it's going to be so exciting to see how everything kind of plays out. The battles have been so good these past 2 weeks. I'm really looking forward to see what France has to bring us in 2 weeks' time.
I know. It'll be a great race over there in France.
Oh, definitely. And Esteban Ocon, who did finish P5, might be looking to say, you know what, I want a podium or even the win at my home Grand Prix. I don't know if the car can give it to him, but he's definitely going to be determined. He's had a little bit of bad luck, but if the Alpines can be reliable, obviously they are the French brand with that Renault engine, it's going to be a lot of high stakes for them to perform well in their home Grand Prix.
Yeah, they've also been a very, very fast team.
Definitely. Well, if you guys have made it this far, though, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok. We're going to be rocking those throughout the week, and we will see you guys in the next one.